another episode of I Got Work Tomorrow. What the fuck?
That was a terrible one.
It's just saying hi to the people. Hey, everybody.
I'm kidding, I'm sorry.
Like, what's terrible?
Okay, are we not allowed to laugh?
What's terrible?
Are we not allowed to laugh?
I don't get it. I don't. What's terrible?
Can you just do your job?
I did my job. I said, hey, everybody, welcome to another episode.
I don't even know if we caught you. I think you have to wait a couple seconds for it to start. But anyways, alright, go again.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another
See, that was
episode.
better. That sounded less. First one.
Will you let me do the?
Do you remember when we were trying to do the promo thing and you're like, I got work tomorrow.
Presents the Sunday edition. It's like you tell Priya something and he always finds a way to overdo it to such a big extent.
Jack, why are you talking on the podcast?
Yeah.
Jacob is not on the
You can talk
podcast.
on the
Like,
podcast.
are you serious right now?
Go.
Anyways,
Yeah, Jack Dev's here. He's just here. He doesn't have a life.
We might insert a picture in the photo.
It's up to you.
you're all good right now.
He could be the guest star today.
Yeah, so
Guest starring Chuck Dave.
You know, I don't know. Guest star is kind of a big label. He can be
Star?
The
No.
Oh.
You know what?
Guys, I think star is a big label, not even guest star. Like,
Guest.
just
guest.
guest.
Just guest.
Asshole everywhere.
He is a guest to this area of the world.
anyways,
We'll let Pre do his intro.
hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Got Work Tomorrow. I'm Priyansh right now, and with me is
Yeah, I'm Joey, same as last week.
I'm Gannett. Same as last week.
introducing a new member to our podcast family, Jason Shergill.
I'm Jason, yeah.
Probably shouldn't call him Yasin. But
Yeah, it's probably confusing. My name is Jason. Just
It's
getting that on the
Yasin.
record.
It's Yasin.
Okay, I have a lot of nicknames. Yeah.
Anyways, today we have some inflammatory topics we want to talk about.
That word.
The hope is we won't offend anyone, but the whole
Funny you would say that, actually.
yeah.
It gets right into the...
Yeah, the whole topic is
Yeah.
that we are talking about do we get offended too easily, but we are going to start with an article that I found on Flipboard last night. I think it's been deleted, but I'm going to try to find it. So if I can't find it, I'll put it up online. And I think it has been deleted mostly because it's received a lot of comments, not necessarily angry, but the comments have actually just sort of been like, what are you doing? Both from
Like-
men and women, and you'll understand why that's important when I explain the article. So I'm reading this article, and it's just talking about this sexist German tech company, right? And this company is it's wrecking on them. It's talking about how
Literally
this
the
is,
worst.
This is just like adding to the problem with how women are not accepted into the tech industry, etc., etc. And Pre just got excited about something on his phone, but anyway.
Frank wanted to.
Two of four of the members are currently texting, plus our guest. So
Anyways,
I am looking up an article, alright?
anyway, the guest, be quiet. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, guest. What would you like to say?
I'm just reading about this, the new Russian law.
We'll get
we'll
to that, Chuck Dave. We'll finish
later.
this stuff
I'm
first.
finding an article for that as well.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
we'll
that
get
got
to it.
released today too.
The advertisement that incited this article was very. I mean, it wasn't too angry. I shouldn't overdo it, right? But I mean, it was quite. It's pretty
Overdone.
big when you call someone a sexist company. That's a pretty big statement, right? So I mean, the article was the advertisement story. It was for a tech company. They were looking for guys to write their code, and it was something like, oh, you know PHP and you know JavaScript. You've learned it all your life. You don't have a job. You play video games all night, and your girlfriend doesn't understand you. And that was the kicker. Your girlfriend doesn't understand you, and that incited an article about a sexist
3 pages
tech
long.
company.
3 pages long.
And I mean, is that sexism? What do you think, Gannett?
I think it's just.
I think Pri has an opinion.
Well, I think it's just overdone right there. It's just, to me, it's taking almost something from nothing. But I can understand. I can understand
the other point
annoying.
of view, right? Yeah. I mean, you see that, and you're let's say you're a woman who codes, all right, and obviously not a lesbian woman because then you would have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
But
which is another argument.
Yeah, that was my first reaction was, why are you automatically assuming
it's a man, right?
just because they say girlfriend doesn't mean it's a guy. Like, if anything, that's being a little bit prejudiced.
Yeah.
I'm not going to freak out about that, but there's a little bit of irony.
anyways,
It is, yeah.
I mean-
that's a good way to put it.
I get your point, but I mean, I think we can say there are more straight woman than lesbian woman. I think that is a true statement. But I mean, I think you could understand being annoyed. You could be like, oh, this is another annoyance.
Come on.
And I mean, I think there is a problem in the tech industry with women, right, and not being fully accepted. Maybe even not in the real tech industry, but just like the people who think they're in the tech industry, like people who are like video gamers and those types. Like
if we're talking about video gamers, cool thing just came up. Then, because Don Matrick left the Xbox division of Microsoft, got replaced by a woman who's now heading the Microsoft division.
Anyway, yeah, but that's an excellent way to accentuate my point. Like in the real tech industry,
it's not.
I mean, maybe it's dominated by like bloggers and such. Those type of people are often dominated by men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like actual engineer. I mean, it still has maybe a higher male percentage. Yeah. But I don't think they're actually unaccepting.
Yeah,
I haven't entered the industry, right?
Yeah.
But so I don't know. But from what I can see, right, and like both of my sisters are engineers, right? So from what I can see, I don't think it's as big as the stigma as we make. I think maybe a lot of the people who aren't really part of that industry, but just sort of talk about that industry, maybe are the guys who perpetuate that sort of
they probably
prejudice.
just don't understand it, right? Like it's like they're just once again they're trying to make something out of nothing. But
well, they want to make it a collector's club or whatever, right?
Yeah, you're not even a part of the industry. Why are you trying to make?
Are you referring to whomever wrote the article?
I think he's just talking about people who generally, I was talking about how like people like all these bloggers will often not accept female tech journalists, right?
Right.
I think that's what he's trying to say, right? So like a journalist maybe probably has some tech background if they're a tech journalist, right? But they're not necessarily in the industry, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so now this is like straight up in the industry. These are people who actually code, right? So like, I mean, you can understand the frustration, but is this advertisement really meant? I mean, first of all, it's clearly
it's
supposed
more
to be funny.
And we could argue that if you're in tech, you could be equally, or if not more, offended by the statement that you're not going anywhere.
Like you're like, oh look, everyone who knows how to code is a loser, right? Like, I mean, no one seems offended by that.
And if you really see, because like we were talking about, it could also be a lesbian, right? It could also be a lesbian with a girlfriend. I know that's a faraway statement, right? But what I'm trying to say is that when you look at an article, you can pick away at it however you feel, right? I mean, there's definitely because if there's nothing's clean cut, I don't think. I think you can look for ways to get offended in anything,
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's what this is more than them attempting to offend women.
Like, I mean, I don't think they're saying women can't understand tech. I think they're just trying to make like a funny joke to inspire people to sign up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, let's be fair. The majority of coders probably have girlfriends who don't understand. Well, not even the coding, just don't understand them as a person. Like as a joke, like you're crazy. Yeah. Like how many, like just. The majority of how many people have relationships where their partner doesn't say things like, "Oh my God, I don't understand you," right? That's a regular thing. Now, maybe a better thing to say would have been, your boyfriend or girlfriend, or some better way of saying that. You know what I mean, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, is this really worth exploding about and calling the company sexist, giving them phone calls, asking for their...
That's where I took it too far.
It's just the thing about it. It's like, when you make advertisements, you have a target audience. For example, earlier today I was watching an Old Spice commercial. That's probably targeted, especially for the humor and whatever. Yeah. It's targeted towards a certain age group and obviously guys. But does that mean that no one else can have that? Can buy Old Spice? No, it's just you have a specific target where most of your demographic comes from. Then why is that a bad thing that you're targeting them? That's just how advertising works.
Yeah, you can say the opposite. You can say the opposite with like female products. They're targeting their female audience.
I think the point the article is trying to make is that there are female coders who want this job too, right? But I think if we actually looked up statistics, which we probably should do, so maybe our guests can do that while we are waiting. I would not be surprised, and if this isn't true, then maybe there is something to this, but I would not be surprised if the majority of code writers or computer science graduates happen to be male.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's...
What am I supposed to look up?
Just percentage of computer scientists.
This is why there's no star.
Just just demographics of computer science graduates.
We should really delegate this to one of us.
Yeah, like 'cause I think.
Jason.
I think he's just like sitting. He's taking it in.
And maybe the fact that I think this is part of the problem, but at the same time,
I'm proud
a company that works in computer sciences probably knows, right? They probably know how many people have just written up this code. Like I know a few friends of mine who are female and who know how to write code, right?
Right.
And I actually know less who are male and know how to write code. Mm-hmm. But I am under the understanding that I think more males go into this industry, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like women shouldn't be accepted. I'm sure all of the males in the industry would be very happy to have more women in the industry, right? I don't think this is an issue, right?
And even if it was majority female code writers, right? Even if if it was that's still, I don't think that's such an offending statement to make, regardless.
See, I understand why people are like, why the journalist of the article is frustrated.
I get it.
I understand that, but I just think it's too far to go sexist company, right? Which is where we get into what we wanted to talk about.
I don't think in the general idea of the company that they put this commercial out, because they obviously
they don't intend to offend
anyone, right? They just wanted more.
And I think if we asked the marketing team if they thought that women didn't understand code or women weren't in the tech industry, then they would definitely say it's not what they meant.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Well,
so
I think they're just targeting their audience, and I'm sorry, but
we have
a different example. We have a very different example. Gannon brought up. We talked about a crash. A car crash. Why don't you share it?
I don't remember the name. I don't know if these always get me on the name. Is it Sudan or Sudan?
It's Sudan.
Sudan
is a country.
Not the country, but the Sudan.
Also
I think I was reading an article about a week ago, and it was about the Sudan, or a woman was driving a sedan, and I think her family was in the car, and what had happened is that she was driving, and her check engine or one of the lights came on. And she chose to ignore it. And apparently several drivers had come up to her car and said, like your check thing is on, like you should pull over the road and check.
How would they know?
I don't know. It was some sort of problem that was visible exterior to the car, right?
Billowing smoke.
Something like, could be smoke, something like that, right? So just from what I read. And then basically she chose not to. And what had happened is apparently the car had stopped in the middle of the road and consequently started an accident that killed a lot of the people, I think all of the people in the car. And so when the sedan released a statement...
Sedan?
Is it Sedan? Or the car.
How did the sedan release a statement?
How does a car release a statement?
No, I mean the sedan company released a statement.
Okay, alright. So the car company released a
Really?
statement.
Was that unclear?
That was very unclear.
Then
the car went on record as saying...
regardless, the company released a statement and they said, the beginning title was just women drivers at it again, and that started a whole. I
think we can agree that's offensive.
Yeah, I agree. That is offensive.
I found a report from MIT in. Oh, geez, this is really old.
No, well, let's hear it anyways.
Okay, well, in 1990... yeah, we'll try to find...
23 years prehistoric.
Only 13% of PhDs in computer science went to women, and only 7.8% of computer science professors were female.
No, I'm sure that's changed.
Yeah. Not, drastically, but there probably has been a lot of progression.
Yeah, I think I should probably try to find a more updated...
Yeah.
But
so supposedly, it's just computer sciences in women has been on the decline since the 1984. It was at its peak in the mid 1980s. And
when was this published? Do you know?
Not sure. I'm gonna look at the links. External.
This is Wikipedia.
It is Wikipedia.
Sorry. No, it was Subaru. That's not the
Subaru. That's why you thought it was Sudan.
Yeah. Subaru dealership.
Fine. I'll try to find a
knowledge. So, you found the article?
I think so. I believe I found a website.
So save it, and we'll share that one. We'll try to share the German tech company if it's still up.
And I know this happened in the United Arab Emirates as well.
Okay.
That's a big.
Yeah,
we can say that there is definitely
there's a stigma up there, and there's definitely
I think more than a stigma. Yeah, but I think there's definitely
pretty
serious. I think when you talk about sexism, I think when you talk about feminism, like in those areas of the world, and this is probably racist, but unfortunately I think it's true, there's maybe definitely more reason to talk about it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It needs to be talked about more. I think there is still sexism where we live, right?
But there's more.
But I mean, I think it's a little bit ridiculous to say people are. Like, you can't compare those two.
Yeah, it's really nothing. It's really nothing in comparison. Like
it's still there,
areas,
right? Like I don't want to say it's not there.
Yeah, it's just not as well structured.
I think feminists would definitely agree with you that it's a much bigger problem in those areas of the world than it is here, right?
Yeah. I don't even think that's.
But do you agree with the idea that they cover this whole idea up with religion though? Because that's what they do. It's because it's all religion based, that you cannot like.
Yeah. And here,
and women are not allowed to argue with this, like because.
Well, see, here's the issue. First of all, I'm an atheist, but I don't have anything against religion. I'm not one of those atheists. But second of all, just my understanding, and I read it was a fictional book. All right, so I don't understand. I'm not. So I say I'm an atheist just because I want to say that I haven't read up on this, right?
Okay.
Like I don't know if this is correct or not, so I'm just going to bring this up. And if you guys know, you can let me know, right?
Yep.
My understanding from a fictional book I read, which was essentially about two different people. One of them was like white Canadian, right? Mm-hmm. And the other one was from I can't remember. I'm sorry, but he was Muslim, right?
Okay.
And it was like a good book, but and it's like they eventually become friends, right? But the Muslim fellow has a sister, and she basically decides she wants to follow this idea of covering. She wears the burqa, is it called?
Yeah.
And she decides she doesn't want
everything, right?
Yes. And she says she doesn't want to like question her father's opinion, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
And this becomes a big thing in the book. The brother is actually this podcast is going to be at least 2 parts. The brother is actually like bullied at school because people think he forces his sister to do this. Okay. But anyways, this is kind of a side point.
Okay.
But he sort of brings up the point sometime in this book that that's not actually the religion. That's more of a tradition and more of an interpretation of the religion itself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, so at what point are tradition and religion separated then? So at what point can we say this is a tradition? And if it is just a tradition, is it still then okay, or is it still not okay? I mean, is it different than religion? Right? I mean, and even if it is religion, in this day and age, can we use religion as an excuse to discriminate against people, right? Because people are discriminated against for their religion.
Yeah.
So is that any better or worse than discriminating someone because of your religion, right?
Right.
I mean, I don't know if it is personally. I think that I think religion's a good thing, but I think that it needs to stay updated, in my opinion. And
it needs to almost get
it needs to stay updated. I mean, that's like the and
you know
the Holy Roman Church, for example, needs to accept homosexuals, right?
Right.
It's to say it's not just one religion. I think all of them maybe have a lot of stigmas left over, and they need to update that, right?
Absolutely.
I think even the same goes to just general progressive society. And America still runs on the Constitution, which is written in a completely different era of advancement, a completely different era of time and thought, right?
But they're just such base ideas in the Constitution.
Well, not necessarily, because this right to bear arms thing is such a huge debate.
Well, now it's
a huge debate, right? And it's and it was never a huge debate before because we never had such high levels of crime. We never had such need.
Well, I don't know if we didn't have high levels of crime. I think we still had them, but
the 80s was probably
you know what's
a lot worse
different
now,
is I mean
when crack was in its prominence.
But this is even
it's true. Like,
but you know, you just think we have high levels of crime because of news. But anyway.
No. I'm not talking this era. I'm just talking these two like eras separately. Like, when is the Constitution created?
I know what you mean.
Right? Like that's
1770s.
But it's like the idea,
like the first
it's like the idea, like when we wrote, it's the 4th Amendment, right, for the guns.
I think it's the Second Amendment, right to bear arms.
So my opinion's now invalid.
Pretty high on the depth chart.
But I mean, when that was written, you don't have you don't have like assault rifles. You don't have
Yeah.
You don't have these sort of killing machines. You have
Well, like in
you know, you have
1776, you might have like some like maybe loaded like very.
We have like a musket with gunpowder,
yeah,
right?
very primitive musket.
You shoot that thing and it goes off 3 meters to where you're aiming, right?
Yeah, that's the
like,
thing with. That's where you can make the argument that this is why it's coming at a time like now. It's because the availability and the technology for guns is
just
so much heightened that it allows for things like what happened in Newtown, and it allows for things like Columbine, and it brings up these discussions, which brings up anger from both sides, and that's why it's becoming such an issue right now.
And I don't know if it's just the gun thing. I mean, it's like the whole, like Ganna was saying, the whole Constitution. And thank God we're not American, where we would get burned at the stake for saying this, even though half of them don't bother following. Anyways,
yeah,
but I mean,
it's contradictory.
But I mean, maybe it's outdated. Is that so ridiculous to assume that maybe you need to like
get with the times,
like change it? Like start over.
Yeah.
Not even just make an amendment. Just start over.
I don't know.
I mean, start over. Start over.
Well, no, but you have founding principles, okay? Yeah. But maybe the founding principles are out of date because I have news for you. Every man is free. Every man is free. When that was written, first of all, it's sexist. Every man is free. It was also racist. It was sexist. It was definitely not. It was definitely not taking into account the lesbian, gay, bisexual community, transvestite community, right? I mean, is that not outdated?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think what the thing is, it's the fact with Americans. I find is that they have a lot of pride in it, and just because it was one of the first like documented government pieces that was based upon freedom, so it's never gonna hit a point where they actually say we're gonna rewrite the Constitution. I think the problem that needs to be solved is people shouldn't be taking it so seriously. Like, I feel like if they used it more of like a guideline than actually a way to enforce law, it would be a lot more helpful for their government.
But then, it's founded on this Constitution, yet the government somehow has the authority to overturn the Constitution. Right? You look at it with like the Patriot Act, and now this is obviously coming away with all this NSA business. Why should the government, if there is a Constitution, and if it is going to be founding, should the government have the right to disobey it?
And then
you hear about these...
And they use it in their...
What? What? Why?
You can just cut later.
It doesn't matter.
Oh.
We can just cut them out.
I actually really love these incidental moments. The fans will be listening like, oh wow, they're trying to figure out what they want.
Hey guys, this is awkward.
Okay, I'll take Priyanshu's advice. We're going to pause.
Yes.
So the second half of the podcast will be coming out soon. And
we'll get back to
it will
focus on
we will
this.
be talking about the Constitution, the NSA. We'll try to get back to the idea of people just getting offended,
and I think we should definitely
versus
talk about
actual discrimination.
We'll talk about the double standard that we have with men and women.
Okay, I think double standard works in more ways than we might be thinking right now. So we'll try to explore both sides of the double standard.
Exactly.
As well as that, I would like to bring up in part 2, we are probably going to touch on whether it's a good idea to think about boycotting the 2014 Olympics or not.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, guys.
All right, we will catch you later.
We'll be back.
I got work tomorrow. Signing out.
Yeah.